Good morning guys, and welcome to Life of Pi, coming at you from Washington State. Today we are heading over the Canadian border, so we've got about a 2-hour drive up to the Canadian border, and then we're going to jump into Canada, head down towards Vancouver because we're in Vancouver for 2.5 weeks on a house sit. So we're staying there for free for 2.5 weeks just outside Vancouver, actually in Port Moody. So we're driving all through Washington State today into the Canadian, through the Canadian border into Canada. So let's start the journey. Just as we're driving through Washington State, we are about 40 minutes from the Canadian border, and right here is Grand Coulee Dam. And this dam is absolutely huge. It's pretty cool. We're going to just drop into the visitor centre and see if there's anything there. So we're just inside the visitor centre of the Grand Coulee Dam. Really interesting to walk around and find out more about this dam. I'd never personally heard of it. Lene had, but she's American, so that kind of makes sense. I'd never heard of it before, and it's super cool. It's actually the dam that generates the most electricity out of any dam in the United States, which is pretty interesting. There's loads of little things to walk around when you're kind of inside the place. Even when FDR came down to, there's the wheelchair that he was in when he came to visit the Grand Coulee Dam when it was being built in the 1930s. It was actually completed in the 1950s and took over 127 million man hours to build, and it is a super impressive structure, which I'll show you again when we go outside, but definitely worth a little stop off if you're driving up through Washington State on the way to Canada. So there is the Coulee Dam one last time. Interestingly enough, that dam alone can power the whole of Seattle and Portland in its entirety all by itself. That's how much power it produces. Absolutely incredible. Onwards to Canada. And there it is, the Canadian-US border. Border inspection is just ahead, and hopefully we're going to get into the country. Welcome to Canada. We made it through the border, easy enough. Got a little passport stamp in my passport, which is pretty cool, and now on the way towards Vancouver. So let's check out some of the Canadian scenery. So we just stopped at a rest stop in British Columbia, and that is a bighorn sheep that is right next to the gents' bathroom. How cool is that? After a really nice drive through the eastern side, that's right, eastern side of Canada, all through British Columbia from where we came up through Washington, we are in a place called Chilliwack. What a cool name for a town, eh? Chilliwack. It's a really cool little kind of city town. I've just wandered out to see what's around, and you're kind of surrounded by mountaintops. Little snow-peaked mountains in the distance. I'll see if there's anything to do in Chilliwack, but there might not be, but let's have a look around. So it turns out there really isn't an awful lot to do in Chilliwack, but crossing over into the US border has been really cool. I'm sat in this huge regal chair just in the reception of our hotel, and that is where we call it a day for tonight. It's been really fun crossing into Canada. We've got a few days of well, we've got quite a long time spent in Vancouver, so there'll be a couple of travel films coming out over the next couple of days, which are going to be all about Vancouver. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video of how to cross the border from the US to Canada. Pretty straightforward by all accounts. But until tomorrow guys, give the video a thumbs up, remember to hit subscribe. Until then, peace out.